Beautiful till it all burns out. We're like falling stars, miracles dancing on the ground. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep dive. We're right with you, yeah. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep dive. Suffering grows, yeah. Let's say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah. Let's say that life is beautiful. Would you let me in? No, yeah.
So happy to be here. Of course, this show is not going to be your average show. In fact, it's very different. And a lot of times it's I don't know, it's kind of it's sacred. It's a sacred topic, but a lot of people are feel a certain way about this subject, which is because it's menstruation. And for me, I'm just going to get right into it of I do my remote viewing sessions off of my cycle. I know that's TMI, but it's that type of show tonight. So I, because there's profound, my seeing capabilities and my psychic abilities go through the roof during there's a 12-day window, but especially during 5 to 7 days, and it corresponds to my cycle. And there's power in that. So I've always kind of felt like a lot of people don't know what these lingams are. They're like, lingams, what are these lingams? It's for blood sacrifice, it's for geysers, it's for water, it's alchemical. But I always I like to philosophize, theosophize, and I always kind of intuitively felt like Starfire was a woman, not just any woman, a certain priestess that has visions and gifts and abilities that are heightened, more advanced, and that I felt like they would sit on these lingams and ingest it. Like there's an organic way where you get these insights and it's approved. It's not like you're taking it from them unwillingly, like you hauled her off from her village and you're taking like that there is a approval and a way of going about it and practicing that. So I came across this story, and then we're going to speak with Hans about this because
I was gonna say what is a lingam for your audience?
it's these. You know what? Maybe in post edit, I'll put one to
A
like.
lingam is a phallic symbol, basically. You see it a lot in Hinduism. Shiva's lingam is most notorious, but it's a circular device, the yoni, and sticking out of it is a column or a shaft, which is the male aspect. So you have the female and the male unified in the lingam structure. Anyway, just thought I'd throw that out there.
Mhm. So this woman is amazing. Anaya Sophia. She's a mystic. She is a minister, and she is an author who wrote Sacred Wisdom. And when you look at her, you're like, oh my God, you're such a goddess. But she wrote this. And for me, when you just look for confirmation of your experiences or certain intuitive wisdom that you feel like you know. So I found this really interesting. I'm going to get into it real quick. And then Hans and I are going to discuss certain things about this subject. So she said, the starfire is the menstrual blood of the goddess. This term is first used in a series of ancient Sumerian tablets describing the moon, a moon elixir that flows from the great queen goddess of an extraterrestrial race known as the Anunnaki, which is interesting. Time out, because apparently it doesn't say anywhere in the Sumerian tablets Anunnaki. That it's like there's the Anuna,
Oh, they're the Anu gods. Yeah,
right?
they're
But it
not
doesn't
called.
say Anunnaki, so I don't like
Not at
quoting
all.
that because that to me, I like accuracy. I like accurate. Like tell me something true. The last thing this any of us need is false information. Okay, but so the Starfire was filled with components, DNA, and a particular gene that opened and later kept open the pineal and pituitary glands,
Oh wow,
granting clear wisdom and insight. It was ritualistically used in ancient and modern times by the early mystery schools, the priestly
interesting.
elite, the kings, and the male offspring of the Anunas. Is it the Anuna gods?
Anu, yeah. The
Anus.
Anu
It is
gods.
important to note that only males partook in ingesting this elixir. Queens, priestesses, and the mothers of the Anunnaki offspring did not need this elixir for its spiritual properties
Because they already had it.
because they were made of it. And after
Wow.
some time, the Starfire was created here on Earth by doing what? Ingesting the menstrual blood of virgin priestesses who embodied this, who were once again bred for this single purpose. Who talks about this is a little bit along these lines is Ashiana Diane. She talks about certain particular women that were extremely gifted and taken somewhere, and that they had that when you get to a certain level or higher, that you have a divine counterpart, and they're extremely gifted, and that they would prey upon and they would separate the two and then breed with the woman, and that the male could feed it, and it just she goes into some very interesting deep
Hmm.
insights about that. That's something to look into. So, uh, okay. So they were made of it. After some time, the Starfire was created here on Earth by ingesting the menstrual blood of virgin priestesses who were once again bred for the single purpose. These priestesses, known as Scarlet Women, were said to be the women who
Of
contained
course.
the voice. They were producing and speaking the wisdom of tomorrow. They produced the Starfire in their womb, and during the moon cycle, they would the utterer then became the uterus. We also have to realize it is not the blood itself that produces the effect. It is what the blood carries, and that is a genetic
Plasma.
line.
Yep.
What?
The
What?
plasma.
And that is a genetic line that moved from generation to generation in the female line from mother to daughter. And that's why the Scarlet Woman did not need to ingest the Starfire. They were made of it. This kingly quality and the ability to rule came from their mother. The priestly quality, the ability to commune with the all, came from their mother. These Scarlet Women led a pure and clean life within temple walls, maintaining the quality and potency of their Starfire for the royal bloodline, who had the duty of guiding humanity in the good direction and maintaining a balance here on Earth and our entire solar system. These men, in union with their female Starfire counterparts, were the kings and queens of Sumeria, later the male and female pharaohs of Egypt, and then the ancient Israelites. It was here in this time that two things happened of significant importance. Number one, the idea of a single male god and rule kicked in. And number two, it became forbidden to partake of anything that contained blood. So the
Mm.
ritual was gone, and in its place was a substance called the white powder, gold, manna, and the bread from
Monatomic gold.
heaven,
Yep.
also known today as ormus. So she goes on. That's what I really wanted to talk about, but she goes on to address,
Oh,
what the
especially the Ormus aspect. That's huge. Anyway, that
right.
that would have been a
But
good tie over.
there's so many that like the in Islam and ancient Judaism and their beliefs of this. But what I also found interesting too was that is what the power in protecting yourself against certain magicians, like basically what Pliny the Elder is spoke about. He it when it comes to breaking spells, okay? Pliny the Elder admitted to how useful period blood was. He said it as baneful as it is, right? Another thing universally
Great word,
acknowledged
painful.
Another thing universally acknowledged, and one which I am ready to believe with the greatest pleasure, is the fact that if the door posts are only touched with the menstruous fluid, all spells of the magicians will be neutralized. So the
Interesting.
fact, yeah, and then you take that to, the agriculture part, where in what was it in Cappadocia during a bad beetle infestation that they were dealing with. A bunch of menstruating women walked through the fields, like with their skirts hiked up, and the beetles just fell dead, like right off the corn. So it's so potent. It has the power to kill plagues. You know what I mean? And then the fact that like in African baying, like women aren't supposed to go into the crops, not because it would hurt the harvest, but because mixing biological fertility with vegetable growth might actually mess with their childbearing. And in Greece, what was it? Greece, that they would do like a planting ritual, which they would spread menstrual blood mixed with wine over the field in like a sympathetic magic meant to increase the
So that,
fertility in the soil.
the last statement about going into the crops and hanging out. So in Nepal, in the upper villages of Manang, like the Gurung valleys, because I don't know if this exists elsewhere in Nepal, but that's where I've had experience with this. The women will go into the nettle fields, and so that's kind of their domain. Men won't go into the nettle fields because stinging nettles, But the women will go in there, harvest the nettles, make soup, make there's a chutney or an achar from nettles as well, like a paste, like sog, like a spinach paste, but it's made from stinging nettles. And this is the women's domain, and so that's interesting that they will go into an area that's got these plants that are protectorates, that people don't want to go around,
The fact that it could like
and
neutralize.
that's where they do their menstrual cycle as well. And so I find that's why I was getting into that. It's like, to me, that's really fascinating. So they're protected, they're in their own space, they know nobody's going to come disturb them.
Now there's times I like to theosophize a lot, and I think like if it's, I always say a woman, like, follow me, a woman's, to me the highest you get to God is like by, like the most divine technology you have within you or in a human is a soul portal, like between the hips of a woman, because you can
Right.
bring in life, like, to me that's like the closest hierarchy wise you could get to God, like by having that honor and doing that honor, and menstruation is like an ode to
I
that,
can't
right?
do
So
that.
right. So now the fact that you would think things that are in like etherically would be attracted to that, so you can call them demons, jinn, spirits, maybe
I mean, even look
dimensional
at
beings
Aleister
would be
Crowley's work. He wanted to create a moon child, right? And so he's casting spells during certain times of year to bring something in,
right.
you
And,
know.
and so it's like, okay, so if it attracts that, now I'm saying like maybe they might have been onto something with the Talmud and, and Judaism,
Hmm.
like they Islam, of they were sensing, like they treated it as the woman was doing something, like it was icky, but maybe it's because it attracts something. And so that's even taken me to,
That's an interesting
different
insight.
like thoughts of like, wait, my seeing capabilities, my visions, my psychic insights go through the roof. It's like crystal clear during this time when you're
Hmm.
menstruating, like, and right up into right before in these key days. So is that just like happening, like, chemically, and what's happening via stem cell, and what's being released and produced. But also, I even considered like, well, or entertained of like things that get attracted to that, or is that what's amplifying? It's the ability. So I've thought like maybe because there's a lot of cultures that will put the women they'll take them out of the village. Like
Oh
you
yeah,
when
like I said, in Nepal, in the Hindu society, it's like when a woman's on her period, it's like you can't be around the kitchen, you can't be around certain places in the house, and it's just like, wow, it's like a weird alienation of sorts. And so, why? Yeah, there's an
with some
interesting
women
aspect
too,
there.
I guess like Romanian and like Italian women, probably over the course. I'm not good at making me say cultures, but will put their menstruation blood, and I am not recommending this. Okay, this is not how you get anybody in love with you, but that they would put it in like their pasta sauce, like to make the man like where they won't leave them. Like there's some type of
That's fascinating, interesting.
yeah, and that's what we were talking about. You and I have spoken about that of like, because we spoke of like how rich the menstruation stem cells are, and how
So they're
they're easy to
realizing there's
collect.
this
It's not unethical.
they're realizing there's this MENSC action going on in menstrual blood, which is a huge stem cell situation. And tests they've done with like skin abrasions where they put menstrual blood on it, within 24 hours it heals 100%. If they're just using regular platelets they're extracting plasma from the blood basically and using that. And so when they use regular blood plasma, it takes like more than 24 hours to reheal, and it's only at a 40% capacity. Where with the menstrual blood, it heals like 100%. And they're doing DNA tests now with this MENSC, and they're realizing that they can regrow organs through stem cell technology coming out of menstrual blood. This is
Dude, there's a
wow.
papyrus
You
scroll
kidding me?
in
This is
in
amazing.
yeah, there's a papyrus scroll in Egypt that suggests that basically says if a woman like had droopy breasts, that smearing the menstrual blood would perk them up. It was used it was used in medicine, like all kinds of drugs and ointments and like, mixtures. So, and the fact that it's rich in stem cells, I mean, you'd probably see some profound results utilizing it for that.
You can add it to your plant food and see amazing results in your own garden. I mean, it's rich in iron. I mean, it has so many other elements that are involved with it that allow the soil to have amazing generative properties.
But the fact it
So,
can break spells, like the in etherically, it seems like I feel like it has like if you were to test, and really extract it and break down, what is exactly in there, but also, like I feel like there's like a whole nother invisible world to it.
for the audience, we're just chatting about this. We're not experts in this subject, but it's so amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, we are not health professionals. This is not medical advice. I need to, you know, remind you of that or say that. I need to state that. But yeah, it's used in regenerative it's big in regenerative therapy,
Oh, now especially they're looking
neurological disorders, cancer therapy.
hard dementia and what's there's another one as well. It's like, oh my god, are you kidding me? Why have we not thought of this before? And so
And we're
when I
just
broke my
dumping it and we're ashamed of it too, like energetically of being like, that's disgusting. Like, oh, that's so gross. When it's like, do you know what this could do for your health or your grandmother?
well, it's kind of how it's treated. Put it in this pad, throw it in the garbage can. It's like, well, why not collect it and give it back to the earth? If we're shedding so much blood back to the earth through the bodies of war, why can't we reverse that with women giving their plasma blood back to the earth?
Mm.
it's an interesting philosophy, but it's like, what are we doing? It's like, let's reverse this. Don't throw it away. Put it away in the earth.
Put it in the earth. Put it in your crops. Well, is there anything else you want to say about the Starfire?
I'm super fascinated with a lot of what I've been reading recently about how it's becoming kind of a mainstream stem cell, like very like amazing stem cell research going into this. I broke my back in 14 places. I got hit by a car twice, one on a bike, one in a car, so upper lower, and I was said that I was told by my doctors, "Oh, you're not going to recover from this." And so I delved deep into acupuncture, trigger point acupuncture, water research, and recently I'm like, okay, I want to look into stem cell research. And so I've been looking into this and ozone injection, and it's difficult to look at because a lot of the stem cells that would work for me come from very young people, and it's like I don't want to contribute to that at all. And then friends of mine are like, well, what about menstrual stem cells? And they're on par, and so it's like, oh, this is an interesting technology. Is anybody doing research into this? Not really. And so now, I've been actually doing a lot of research into this recently, and my God, there's actually a lot of people that are looking into this. And so, wow, if we can regrow,
well, that's what's so amazing. Is like the
human
way
parts. Well, of course, where do human parts come from? The combination of the blood of the mother and the fertility of the father.
But that's like, what the mystic was speaking of. She was like, you do not, please do not offer it to another, to another without the conscious oneness of what you're doing. Like sharing your blood with another is offering them like carte blanche into your inner workings of your
fully
being and your mind, and without like you never mix blood with others. Like be conscious and of who and what you're
informed
doing.
consent. Well, gee, it seems to be that we're not informed on any consent recently. But
No, but if there's women that are like, "Hey, listen, like this is for a bunch of can't be people that are ill that I want to heal
do
them."
it.
Like
Oh my
there's a
God.
whole nother. Oh my
No, for
gosh, let's
sure.
start a menstruation collection for those who want to donate it. Like, hey, why don't you, hey, you want to be part of a cause? Oh, that's
You're
brilliant.
you're onto something there, and I would
So
fully
start your
back
local
that.
bank today. Everybody, it's I always say if you want to heal the world, it starts
Starfire.
with yourself and inside yourself and then your family and then your community and it ripples out to the world. And if
Wow,
everybody does that, we have a healed world. So
very
yeah.
true. So we were also talking about the magic of water, and so water has a huge aspect to all of this as well. And
Dude, I
there's a
want to
lot
do
of
like a whole I want to do like a whole deep dive into the water because I've been talking about it structured living water for so
right.
long and I'm
And
so
so there's this
passionate
huge
about it.
movement with structured water. What is structured water? Well, if you go into nature, structured water is what comes out of the rivers and streams. Why? Because the rivers and streams they're not straight lines like the pipes in our houses are. And I was talking about this on a show earlier tonight about how it's difficult that all of our cities bring all this amazing water into our cities, and then they put all this chemical crap into it, and then they force it through left right angle tubes, and nature kind of doesn't do that. So by the time it comes out of your tap, it's dead water. And so what is structured water? Well, it's water that has vortices, the ability to
It's
vorticize.
hexagonal shape.
Yeah,
Hexagonal. Uh-huh. Or
right.
hexagonal. A tomato. Hexagonal. Hexagonal. It's hexagonal. But yeah, it gets from spiraling down, and that's what we were speaking of is like you got. I'm gonna be. I think I'm always gonna say that. I'm always gonna be a broken record talking about the cerebral spinal fluid spinning. You
No,
know, like
that's
with
kind
the
of
two
why
streams, with the third one, down the
it is.
center,
It's
and the
structured
heart
fluid,
streaming like
right?
that. It's
Yep.
structuring it. Like it's the divine technology that resides within us, and you apply that to water. Like hello.
Yes. Wow. So we all need to think about water because we are water. We are like 70% water. Everything that we do around us is water. And we take water for granted. Why? It comes out of the tap. You turn the spigot, and there it is. Voila. But what's in that water? You know, how do we change that? How do we filter that? Get a good filter. You know, not here to pitch products, but Multi Pure. There's a bunch of other products as well out there that are great filter systems. Get a good structured water system. You know, find something that allows you to
Invent one.
or invent one. Yeah, I mean, you can do this yourself with a funnel system. Put crystals and marbles in your funnel system, and so you're creating an ability for the water to break itself up while it's going through the funnel, and then it vortexes, and so it's not just a stream flow of the same H2O particles. It's frothing. It's becoming a vortice. It's becoming a structured water. You can do this with breath. I was part of a water fast a little over a month ago during the last new moon, and we were structuring the water that we were drinking through breath practice, and that to me was really amazing. It's like, oh my god, I've never thought of that, because you're going through these pressure systems of breathing, like pressure breathing, and then stagnant breathing, and then shadow breathing, even where you're inhaling internally without breath at all, and then you're producing this into your water goblet or whatever your water source is, and you're structuring the water from your own energy. And woo woo Wednesdays, but no, I'm serious. This is quite a fascinating, topic on its own. It's like, how is this possible? Well, breath work is like super amazing. It helps the heart functionality. We were talking about the heart earlier,
And the cerebral spinal fluid.
and the spinal fluid as well. Yeah. So, wow.
I'm very glad. Like it's such a, I don't know. To me, it's a sacred thing that I would love to shift people's entire perspective. You know, like there's some cultures that really honor it, and they have like parades of the little girls that are now experiencing it, and they're like, you're gonna be getting information from the elders, and like they know what a big deal and honor that is. And shifting people of thinking it's this dreaded, awful thing. Like it's just disgusting. And what you're really putting your nose towards is like what comes with that spiritually, and the honor, and what you're saying this
Oh,
to
shame and
as a
shunning, and yeah, you're
Sicilian.
like,
You come
fetch the
on,
big
you know what this
ass.
means. You guys know of what doing this to it's just the disrespect and how that's taken
Oh, fully.
spiritually. So you
Oh,
better,
fully.
and who you're upsetting spiritually by doing that, your grandmother, your ancestors, and why are we, oh, I could get so passionate and go on rants of like, why are we disgusted by something that is a system that regulates if that's how we freaking got here? You know what I mean? Like it's the cycle that's like,
You're
because of
magic.
that
You're in
cycle.
your own realm. We can't deal with you. So it's like, wait, what?
So just, I don't know. I would love to shift people's perspective, or just, I don't know. I just want to I want to preach and teach and learn. I want to learn ancient knowledge, because there's people that are like, Julia, why do you focus on this ancient stuff? Like, come on, we're moving into a different time. Like, Julia. Like, I've had brilliant people be like, Julia, we're not, we're shifting, and we're
Well,
moving
like,
towards something technology. And I'm like, whoa. And there's times that I'll listen, of course I'll hear you, but sometimes I don't want to hear you, because I'm like, look, they were advanced. Okay, I understand we're moving in different times. Clearly, we've forgotten some things where we used to thrive. We are no longer, we don't know how to thrive. So there's some ancient practices that I believe need to be instilled because the way we've been operating, this cannot continue. It's like, yeah, but Julia, we're going into a different time. We're going into it's completely different times. Like that stuff's not going to apply here. I'm like, really?
It always
Really?
applies.
How? How is not knowing how to thrive? How is that not going to apply at any time in any circumstance?
Well, like
Because
like the images I showed you yesterday from Karnak. So here you have this wall of, ancient hieroglyphics from Egypt, and it shows Amun, the darkness, fertilizing all of the flowers, and then the bees also helping in the fertilization.
and his
Yes, he's quite erect. But
hey,
that's the show that, he's fertilizing the plants and the animals. And that's the darkness. And so it's like in the darkness everything sprouts. That's kind of the message there. And so it's like, wow, this is on a wall in Karnak Temple in Egypt, which, God, you could spend literally 6, 7, 8 days there and not see the entire
dude,
structure.
there's a
So
like a woman
showing
priestess
up
on
there.
that wall that literally looks like me. Like where I'm like, oh my God. But then have you seen pictures of where it looks like they're literally constructing it? Like where it looks like they have like big cranes and they're putting that up. Do you think Karnak was
There are some aspects of that. I want to say the Temple of Isis and Philae.
what? You think the
The,
Temple of
the,
Isis, the
the,
one that's
the
like in
inner
ruins?
walls in that temple show some really interesting stuff. Unfortunately, that's not where the original temple was. It was much further below that. And when they built the Aswan Dam, they drained the whole area. They didn't find at Aswan any like obelisks or major megalithic pieces that had fallen into the water, which was fascinating.
Mm.
But they flooded the whole area. And so the original temple of Philae or Isis actually sits in front of it, but under the water. And when you go to Abu Sir, it's the same thing because
So wait,
they
so Isis, the original Temple of Isis was a little bit south of Aswan?
no, it's literally next to where it is now. It's
Okay.
they moved it up to a higher ground. The
Okay.
Germans
But is
rebuilt
it
it.
like
Some
was
things
it
are out of
just as
whack.
close to the water?
Oh yeah, it's right on the water. Yeah,
Okay.
now,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
because of the Aswan Dam, that whole area flooded, and so it used to be much lower, and so Philae was further down on the island where the whole temple was.
Doesn't this
Yeah, all
doesn't she
right.
look kind of look like me? Or am I just is this pareidolia? Is this pareidolia
This
or
is
is
that
this
Karnak.
Julia?
Oh my god. Yeah, interesting.
Very few times am I like, "Oh, yeah, I see it." And then yeah, my friend went there and he came to see me and was like, "Julia." He was
This is
like,
you.
yeah, yeah, he literally came in and was like he showed me a Sekhmet statue, and I love Sekhmet. I love me some Sekhmet.
Have
And
you seen the one in the back area of Karnak? You have to go into the special temple to see it.
where it does the orbs. He was on a
Oh my
he was
god.
with a bunch of gifted
The energy
people.
in that room is
Yes. Okay, so he was with a bunch
insane.
of psychics and they're all extremely gifted and they were like on the private tour and he was showing that whoever stands in front of it, it emulates like you could capture in regular
Oh, you stare
photography,
into their
not
eyes
curly
and it's
and
just like this vortex. Yeah.
yes, which is
Yeah.
very significant. That here my Italian is flaring up right now.
Yeah.
No, but it's very significant that
Italian.
speak of which,
You're Sicilian.
The Vatican has so many statues of Sekhmet.
Oh, I
And
can only
anytime
imagine.
they go on auction, they it claps them up. Well, why? Probably for several reasons, but also because what that statue seems to be able to indicate that there's, of like it's able to show you that it can mirror you, you can capture it of like there's more here than what religions and stuff that they preach. So it's
Hmm.
like evidence that goes against what they're saying. But who knows? There's like a whole nother. They know what's real and what's not. But
Well, and even getting access to the Vatican libraries, it's like you
dude,
have
you know
to
how many
know
people have asked me to
exactly
like
what you're
remote view
looking
that
for
place?
in them, but there's no archives or inventory. So uh, obviously they don't let a lot of people in there. So
You know, I've been asked like by some pretty serious people to remote view things in there, and I was like, specifically, I was like, oof. And then I was like,
the
specifically, what do you?
Vatican, really? Oh wow.
Yeah, the library, which is I'm not going to get fully into it right now. Maybe one day I will. But when I was 6 years old, I was brought. When I was 6 years old, I went into the catacombs of um, the Vatican, and I was brought into the same room as the Pope and the Pope's living quarters. Okay. Oh gosh, I have to do now. I have to do a quick. I'm going to do a quick overlay of this story, which does not make any sense, and it's not going to make any sense. Okay, but it's super weird. And I was brought into the Pope's quarters by Salvatorio, and I was with my aunt, all my siblings, my brother and my sisters, and my mom, and we were brought in the same room as the Pope, where he goes out and waves. And then I don't know, my aunt almost fainted because she felt like she wanted to be a nun, like she felt like she had the calling. Is that what it's called? The calling? When like feel like you've heard the voice of God and it's like you need to be
Sure.
a
Yeah.
nun.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she had that moment. And her and my mother was raised Catholic. And I was brought into the same room as the Pope in the quarters. But so energetically, I mean, I was 6 too. I was 6 years old. What the heck? So, like, I've demanded, like, with my parents, like, "Whoa, you guys, what's going on here? Like, why was I brought like, how did this happen?" Like, there's a lot of weird things. I'll get into it another time. But what I'm saying is like, if that's, the whole thing about information being stored there. But what I was most fascinated is a 6-year-old, and I was most interested in, and this maybe foreshadow of my future life, which was everything underground. Like they were like, "Julia, we gotta go. We need to go to the top," because we had all this like VIP access. And it was like to go to the top and all these other cool places. And I wanted to stay underground. Like I wanted to just go deeper and deeper. And that the catacombs blew my mind. Mind you, I'm 6 years old. So I'm like, whoa. But the fact I was like, they don't
It
talk about
imprints.
this.
It definitely imprints. Yeah.
I'm like, what? And I just, but what 6-year-old is going to feel comfortable around a bunch of like dead bodies in the catacombs? Like, what? What?
I was in the village with animal sacrifices in front of me at 5, so no, I totally get it. You're mystified, and you're like, "Wow, I remember that. I'm going to remember this forever because it's not something that naturally I would be around." But there you are, right in the catacombs. When I lived in Washington D.C., my God, my best friend and I would go down into the storm drains, and we were in Vienna, Virginia, and they go all the way to Tyson's Corner, and then all the way toward Vienna, and they would drop off into these catacombs
Mm.
where there's like, I mean, you could look down 1,000 feet and see like 10 different um, water structures coming into this, pouring down into
What?
something that's draining out. Oh my God, it was
Wait,
insane.
the water structures, how is it coming in?
That's a good question. So who's building these drains and when? you know, these are
Well, I mean,
huge
of
drain.
course, I
They're
think
like
this much
they're
ancient. I'm
storm
always,
drain systems. So some of them are 20, 30 feet underground, but they keep going down, and then they end up in this huge cistern. And where we were at was at the top level of the cistern when we got there,
mm,
and it was like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You look down and you have all these different like sewage or storm drain pipes coming into this cistern basically and going down into a further system.
hmm,
And so you're like, oh my God, how much further down does this go? And where does it drain off to? And so interestingly, underneath Giza is kind of the same system, but
hmm.
from ancient times. So
And
are
this
we
is in
just
Virginia?
yeah, outside of Washington D.C., like McLean near Tyson's Corner,
Well, I've like crazy. I think like
San
ancient
Loring,
Egypt,
Vienna,
like
Virginia area.
a lot of the things that were taught about Egypt, like I feel like Idaho, Utah, like Arizona predates the civilization and the things that were taught occurred in Egypt. I feel like it's older, like it
Well,
predates that.
Egypt is just the Greek name. I mean, it was
Oh,
a horrible
Kemet,
chem
whatever,
chem.
Chem.
It's yeah, and we associate everything to this Greek name, and so in a weird way, we also try and fit everything that they find in Egypt within a 6,000 year category, and it's like you can't do that.
That's what I was
You
saying earlier. Is Terry
you
Carter
just
posted
can't
a
do that.
video, an interview where he is interviewing this woman, but it's about this rock that was found in Idaho that has Tutankhamun's high priest, his sign, like his symbol on one side, and then his cartouche on the other, and it's and then Ptah, Utah, and I just the
Utah,
Grand
Utah. Wow, I
Canyon,
never
right?
never
Yeah,
actually
Ptah,
thought of
Utah,
that
and
connection.
then Arizona, the Grand Canyon and the things that were found there, right? In Smithsonian, which I'm gonna do a show on my remote viewing results from the location of I wonder, no, I don't know if I should give, I'm not gonna give exact coordinates, but I'm gonna give clues, maybe. I don't know. I gotta think about it. But of or permission or authorization, I guess. But of that to me is of profound of where all of that stuff was found. Like,
Yeah,
and that and there was so much Egyptian things found there.
it's even off limits now to even park officials that work in the area. So it's like
And
totally
from what the opening
unanticipated.
has been like sealed off, like where he walked in, and it was a little bit off the
I don't know if
river.
I shared it with you, but you need to watch a show Walter Bosley did on his channel a couple days ago. It's all about the calm and
Hmm?
how this could be a calm site from ancient times. So the calm are often confused with Tartaria, similar same culture in a way, but much older. So in my book, the Dropa book, we talk about the calm Tibetans of far eastern Tibet, which is now central China. But during the Chinese occupation, our government trained their warriors, the Kampa, to spy and assassinate Chinese troops coming through the region during that time. So, yeah, I reached out to Walter. We're hopefully going to do a
Oh,
show.
are you guys there? You guys linked up now?
I've known Walter for a bit. Not really known, but I've chatted with him and Joseph Farrell for years.
Oh
So
man, I feel like I don't know why I feel like
I had nothing to share, so it's like now I have something to share, and it's gonna be
what do you mean with
interesting.
the Dropa? What do you mean with the Dropa?
Oh, just in general, just overlapping studies, and yeah, I'm super fascinated with a lot of what Walter talks about. Randall
Mm,
Carlson is also talking about this. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, kind of hinting to alternative technologies, very similar to the technologies Walter talks about in his airship mysteries. And
mm.
there's a company in the Maldives that is producing natural technologies. Wink, wink. I don't know what else to say. I don't. There's not a lot of info around it, so I'm fascinated by it and its mystery as well. So if they're talking about Victor Schauberger and his
Yes,
approach to
like his
natural
little
technology,
freaking,
yeah, birds do not fly, they're flown. Fish do not swim, they're swum. Yeah, this kind of
makes you
technology.
want to go get some wood and fly around. Like,
then
oh,
then I'm super fascinated because this was an ancient technology that worked. Obviously, apparently, yeah. And now we use nuts and bolts and all this other stuff that just seems super alien.
that's
It's
why
like,
it's so important to like cleanse and rise our frequency and our consciousness. And when you know better, you do better. But you also get the insights and the clarity, and other things
oh
begin to
god.
work with you. Everybody's
Speaking
got a
of
little bit of
cleanses,
key too. You've got brilliant people like Jeremiah. And people doing their experience. Everyone has what they're gifted with, and coming together. like hello and unifying.
Well, we have this ability now to project ourselves into the ether, and so this is key because we can spread these amazing, messages. Obviously, we're not offering health services or anything, but we have some amazing breakthroughs, like this amazing liver cleanse that I went on now the second time during a new moon. Oh my god, approached it very differently. Eric reached out and was like, do cherry juice and like raw apple, organic apple cider or apple juice. And so I did that, and oh wow,
It's
very
really,
different,
yes,
but
absolutely.
larger stones removed.
Well,
Wow.
in organic apple juice, it starts with the M. It's not. I always want to call it muriatic. Okay, I understand that muriatic acid
It's very acid.
dissolve bodies is like a whole nother level, but it's a similar word. Like it's the M, but that thing is what is in the apple juice that really amplifies
Oh God, it
when you're
does. Woo.
cleansing because it get the gallstones especially, and
Well, it helps dissolve them. And then, as I was telling our friend Eric, I was like, okay, I have a chi swing. Do you know what a chi swing is?
no,
So it's a cradle that you put your feet in, and it rocks your body back and forth. And it's good for people that are diabetic, so on and so forth. It creates your body as a centrifuge, and
probably
like
like it's the lymphatic system going.
bingo, right? So doing the cleanse after you do the lemon juice and the olive oil, and you go horizontal, I'll lay on the chi swing for like an hour, and it's sloshing my system. So in a sense, it's helping to break up the liver and gallbladder stones. And yeah, I think it works
I
quite
think what's
well.
important is like not to because we get this look on our face, and I start taking deep breaths, and we're like, oh, the cleanse. But of speaking about, dude,
It's
it's like a
painful.
high. No, bro, it's like you're confront like it's like because you're
It
releasing
is
things
like a
because you're
high.
like
Yeah.
terrified because you're terrified and you're like this is gonna be awful, and then it takes you down this
You're
like
right,
where you're
exactly.
slaying and
Oh my
dragging, and
god.
then you're empowered, and then it's like, dude, this isn't really that bad. Oh my god, like I'm feeling like I feel clarity. I feel high energy. I feel insight. Oh my
It's
god, I'm
just the
scared. I'm
drinking of
laying on my
Epsom salts
side
is
and I'm
so
scared, but yet I'm doing it. And you're like, there's this weird emotional roller coaster, but you get insight, clarity,
oh my god.
confidence.
I
And
lost
they
10
say with
pounds.
losing weight, like they're like, you lose if you want to lose weight, it depends how your liver functions. So if you're not losing weight or it's hard to get off the last 15 pounds or whatever, it depends on how your liver is functioning. So flush that shit out. Flush
And
it
then
out.
your bile will take over and function the way it needs to. And yeah, I didn't realize that that's exactly what was going on, but makes so much sense.
I should do one after Thanksgiving.
Next, do it around the new moon. That way you don't have the intense of the
I like to,
moon.
parasite cleanses like right before the full moon, because it's like they're coming out to party and rave, and you're like, gotcha. You're like trapping them, like, oh, yeah, you guys are going to come out. Like, this is your favorite time of the year. You all come out then. Perfect. It's
Of
like
course they do.
literally war. You like smoke them out. You're like, oh, okay, it's the full moon. Yeah, they know they're going to be there. And it's crazy that you have to get militant, but like, parasites are in everything,
That's funny
like
you say that about the full moon because I was stung by a Portuguese man of war when I lived in Hawaii.
on a
And it
full
was a
moon.
weird experience. I was at Little Beach, which is the new beach, and I was following my friend out. We were following four turtles, and we went out like God, it was like a half a mile out. And I don't usually wear suntan lotion because your skin doesn't.
Are you
I'm
naked
allergic to
too?
this.
You're nude? You're like, "I don't wear suntan, especially when I'm
I
naked."
wasn't nude, but
I'm trying to tan something that
I had
normally
my
doesn't see the
I
sun,
was just
alright?
happened to be at the nude beach because it's that side of Maui where you can go into the open water for far distances and it's still shallow enough. And so I came up to the surface. I'm like, I'm feeling a little crispy on my shoulders. I feel a little sunburned because I've been out here like noontime day, worst time to go in the water. But we were following this amazing school of There were like 4 to 8 turtles that we were following. He had his camera and his big fin, and I was following behind with my camera, and it was so amazing. Anyway, I come up to the surface and I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I got to swim back to shore. And then the suntan moved, or the sunburn moved. And I'm like, how does this move? And I went like this on my shoulder. And I flung into the water next to me this little tiny, it was like the size of an eyeball with tentacles. And I'm like, oh, fuck, a box jelly. Family friendly show. Sorry. Anyway, like a box jelly, I'm gonna die, because box jellies are known around Oahu, especially. There's a lot of them, and they're small. They're really small. I'm like, well, I guess I got to swim back to shore because I got nothing else to do, and if I'm gonna have an anaphylactic shock by the time I get back, at least somebody will see me swimming back or something. And so I went back to shore, no issues, but I kept brushing off the tentacles. They were wrapped around my underarm and over my ear. Oh, it was bad. And so I get back to shore and I'm asking people, I'm like, are there box jellies out today? And they're like, no, it's right before the full moon. And so it's probably Portuguese man of war. And so I was looking this up. It's a colonial organism. They don't know where it comes from. They show up on the leeward side of islands after the full moon, or right around the time of the full moon. Mm-hmm. So it's multiple organisms that are colonized together. This is an alien creature.
Oh yeah, straight up. No, parasite.
What is this? They don't know where it comes from. It just shows up. And so the first thing they say is, I guess I'm going to get vulnerable here. Pee on yourself. So I'm at the nude beach. I wander up onto the trail and I'm literally splashing myself on myself. And I kid you not, Japanese tourist walks down the secondary trail, which is what I was off of. The main trail goes down to the beach. The secondary trail is like the upper area. And I was up there with his camera. Oh, Gaijin, pee on self. I was like, no.
Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
Mortified. We got to get that photo. Listen, if anyone has any leads on that photo.
Oh my God.
I will pay you.
I'm getting snapped peeing on myself. Oh, it was horrible. Anyway, I feel horribly vulnerable right now. So I looked on my phone again, and the next thing it says is get back in the salt water. Don't use fresh water on the wound because it will seep into your system. So I got back in the salt water, and I'm splashing myself down. And my partner at the time, she was with her son, and we had to leave, and I'm like the only one that can drive. So I'm in the parking lot. I'm like, I need to find a black vehicle, because what I know about protein is if you get a bee sting or a spider bite or anything and you have a lighter, and if you can heat the metal piece up on the lighter, it gets to like 108 degrees. You put it on your bite and it will neutralize the protein. So I'm sitting there trying to go into the parking lot. I'm like, oh my God, black Jeep. So I start laying down on this guy's Jeep. Trying to get my body temperature to a certain degree where I was neutralizing the protein. Anyway, cutting the short story.
All right. Well, we're coming up on the hour. And what is your website? I just got to say, Hans, I love you. You're so brilliant. I love how eloquently you say information. Like you've been doing this for eons. You're very good at it. I really hope you continue, because the way you could take advanced subjects and make it to where it's the way you lay it out like a song, and it's easy to flow, and you make it understandable. And we all know, and if we don't know now you know, I'm bad at that. Like I'm bad. Like I'm like bam, 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 info. I do not lay things out to where you can understand. I jump. It's part of
I appreciate you saying that, because
it's my greatest asset, but it's my greatest liability. Okay, so I'm aware. So because that is my weakness. When I come across people
in my human design, and so I filter. I see everything, and then I filter.
When I come across people who are very good at it, Andreas is excellent at it. You are, you're amazing at it. So, John, Enoch's really good. So many people, but I really admire those people. I appreciate you guys on a deeper level because you could take intricate things and advance things that is normally over people's head, and you can
You
break it
also do
down.
this, so don't shortchange
No,
yourself.
man. No, maybe one day. I don't know. Maybe never. But at least I know, and I know where I need to work on. But and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I could do cool things that I can make up for it. But so when I meet people like you, I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're amazing. And so I'm saying this from the deepest parts of my heart. Like I really admire your ability to do that, and what the information that you provide and are attracted to, and your experience, your firsthand experiences, and even the fact that we could talk about this, like think about the subject that we just covered, like
Oh
that's
my God.
amazing.
In the 90s, when I moved back to the States, I had the worst reverse culture shock you could imagine. I'm coming from traveling all over the world. When I lived in Nepal, because of my school, I went to Pakistan, India, Kashmir, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Burma, all through international school exchanges of sports and drama and art and whatnot. And so I got to experience a lot of this. And I came back to the States, and we didn't have internet in the 90s. Not like we do now, obviously. I mean, my God, we're paying pennies on the dollar for
Yeah.
high-speed internet, when back in the day we were paying dollars on the penny for the shittiest internet you can imagine.
No, but Hans, I'm basically saying I'm just trying to give you props because we're heading out of here. But what is your website? Like, what is it? What is your website?
It's called Mega Mist, MEGAMYST. So it's short for Megalithic Mysteries.
Oh, nice.
And on
And
there,
then
I have a lot of the shows that I've done recently, some of my experiences in Egypt and Peru, 2014, 2016, 2018. I'm trying to get some of my Nepalese experience that I grew up in, and Bhutan up there, but
but
don't have a lot of.
your YouTube channel, like
Oh,
if
it's
they
called
wanted
Giza Direct.
GIZA
Yep.
direct,
Yep.
DIRECT.
It's not a direct link off of YouTube, but if you look up YouTube Giza Direct, it will
Okay.
pop up.
But thank you so much for coming on here. I love
Oh,
you
I
so much.
appreciate this so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for
So
the platform, the experience, and as always with you, amazing conversations. So yeah.
are you planning on going anywhere next year? Like any
So
traveling?
like you and I, we have a speaking event in April.
Sun come up.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh, all good.
What did you say?
You and I have a speaking event in April at Alien Event and AI and all this in LA. And then I don't know, I kind of want to go back to Egypt. And so there's some things coming up. I think Johnny Enoch and Timothy Hogan are doing an event in March or April, also in Egypt. And so that might be interesting to go on.
I'm gonna try to go to this like 2-week thing over in Europe. I hope it's able to happen because I was like, if I have to choose between Alien Event and that, I don't know. Like they're gonna go to the Bosnian pyramid. They're gonna go to a
Are you
star fort.
serious? Oh shit!
Do you want to go? And they're gonna go to a star fort. They're gonna go to King's Landing, the site where they
Are they
filmed
doing
that.
Croatia and Bosnia? Is that
All
like,
over there, and it's
oh my
like,
God.
is it like 18 days? I don't know. There's so much to work
Send
out,
me
but
the link.
I freaked
No,
over it.
seriously,
I was
send me
like,
the link.
"What?"
I might be
It
down.
sounds
We'll see.
that'll be amazing. Okay, I shouldn't
Well,
have
it's a
talked
better
about that. I don't
spend
want
of
to.
money than yeah, some of the events. But yeah, interesting.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Croatia,
do.
the whole
Yes,
Baltic area, I really want to see.
dude, let's go. Let's manifest it. All right, I love you. Thank you for coming, and I hope you learned something. And thank you for being here, Hans.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate your
You're
time.
awesome.
Bring back to the channel.
Like falling stars, miracles dancing on the ground. And we're right with you to feel it strike deep down. We're right with you, yeah. And we're right with you to feel it try to deep dive, suffering grows, yeah. You say that life is beautiful.